Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Inkosi Super Cup Season 5 of PUBG Mobile, brought to you by Nodwin Gaming Africa. Please welcome with me my fellow casters, Actfire and Ira. How are you guys doing this evening?
Yeah, we're doing great. We're doing good. We're getting ready for the action that's going to happen today.
And
Yeah, and
Ira, how
I'm
are you
doing
doing this evening?
fantastic. Doing fantastic. I want to apologize. Last week, towards at the end of the week, I was just down with the cold. So if you guys did miss me, I am back here. But Act guys will be giving you guys the play-by-play, the hype for the evening. I'm just here to give you guys the analysis. But I'm looking forward to night. It's in Corsi, so yeah.
Now, guys, we are getting closer to the final week, and we are here to celebrate all of the amazing teams that are joining us here at Inkosi. And these teams are battling it out for to be a part of the top eight. That will be competing against the bottom eight of the Umzansi League. So, guys, how do you feel about the teams that have been participating? How do you feel about the teams that are participating? Who do you think might make it to the top eight as well?
I mean, definitely, there's some teams like Greedy for Kills who have been showing consistency. You do have the boys from ATL Magicians as well, Navi, Inkosi Sports. There's so many different clans, so you'll be curious to see how the overall leaderboard, pans out at the end of the day. But those clans have been showing consistency, and hopefully they'll be able to make it all the way into, that relegation battle.
Definitely. Let's hope that they do. And Vina Amori had so much consistency last week. Of course, Greedy for Kills that took the winner chicken dinner. Iro, please break down the previous week for us as we take a look at the schedule.
Yeah, no, last week was fun packed action. We looked at Greedy for Kills, absolutely dominating, especially the last map over there at Miramar. Me and DK, we thought, Greedy for Kills aren't going to be too aggressive. Then all of a sudden started picking up the pace, started picking up those kills. But it was really in Miramar where they showed us what true talent is, winning a winner chicken dinner with a 2v4 and a clutch coming out from Greedy for Kills to win that game and absolutely grab a phenomenal points. I mean, we look at it, they had about 76 almost towards the end of that. And even if they divided their points in half, they would still remain first in that week over there. So it was really, really fantastic.
It was a great thing to see. Now, let's take a look at what they're competing for. Not only the top eight, but we're also looking at the prize pool. Now, each week, of course, one lucky team, hardworking team as well, will be taking $105 per week. And, Actfire, so far, Greed for Kills has taken two of those weeks. So, who do you think might take it this week? Considering that we've seen a little bit of the list of what teams are playing this week.
Yeah, I'm not really sure who exactly is going to take it. But at the end of the day, for me, like it doesn't really matter at this particular point in time because all the teams, what they're really fighting for is going all the way up in that relegation. So this is just a competition for them, and it can be anyone. All of these teams, sort of like champions in their own right, actually all the way into this time. So we'll see how that actually goes. But taking a look at the point structure so far, how the teams are going to be shaping up after each match. All in that first position, we do have 15 points. Second, getting 12 points, and it's very important for this team coming all the way in that top five.
So when you got that top five going through, you're looking at it being sixth, fourth, eighth, third, 10th, second, 12, and first 15. So really, really bunch of points that you can accumulate. But we looked at it last week, Pesley, and this was a heavy topic. How do you go about gaining a lot of points on the leaderboard, being consistent in placement, but as well as then gaining those eliminations in the lobby?
Well, of course, you have to pay attention to, where you are in terms of your placement. But of course, kills can also, take you all the way to the tops. Like Greedy for Kills walked away with 34 kills, and they ended up with a 39. I'm sorry, they walked away with the winner chicken dinner, and then Vina Amore walked away with only 6 kills. but got 14 placement points, and that got them, in the top eight. They got them on the first page, just like we have the Outsiders official, Rising YT, Fahim Musafir. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Unseen Invaders, Team Lost Warriors, The Outlaws Predators, Alpha Pack Esports, and Haiti Prime. These are the teams for this week. But for last week, those teams that were able to take the top eight, it was a mixture of both eliminations as well as adjusting to their situation and just getting those placement points, especially if they were knocked down to like two members of the team. But now we have the second page, which is Cyclone Shields Esports, the Nightmare Esports, just expired. That's an interesting name. We have Tafu Clan, we have Shark 2022, we have God Esports, familiar. We have O3 Esports, O3 Brothers, which is also familiar, and Citizens Esports. So now, Agfire, how do you feel about this lineup from the second page?
Yeah, I mean, there are a couple of teams that we did mention, earlier on in the Inkosi, um like the O3 brothers, like Citizens, like Outsiders. They do have an opportunity to perform well today because a lot of teams that usually shine very well throughout the Inconsi this season, like ATL Magicians, like Horse Esports, like Really for Kills, like Navi, are currently not right here within these matches that we have today. So it's an opportunity for those teams to begin to gather a lot of points on that leaderboard.
Yes, and Navi Sports, we already know that they have, performed in every week, coming somewhere between first and sixth. So, I do think that they have a good chance of making it to the top eight. Ira, do you think that they could make it to the top eight, or are there any other teams that you're looking out for that might make it?
Honestly, with me being a irregular on the Inkosi, I don't really know what that top eight currently looks like. So I rather go week by week and enjoy what the Inkosi has for me. But it is quite shocking to see this week that we have like Backfire has mentioned right now, some of the teams like Horrors, Greedy for Kills, etc. Like the question comes into play, like what happened this week going into the qualifiers for the three games this evening could be interesting touch around next week.
It could be interesting indeed. And, the Nkosi teams do bring a fresh, vibe to the scene as well.
Yeah.
But Agfire, do you believe that they should maybe, stick to what we all know, the default plays, or do you think that, we should expect the unexpected and they should, continue bringing that, fresh fire into the scene? Because if they go to the Umzansi side and do something completely, different and end up on top, then they're just showing that they're the game changers. So how do you feel about bringing something new versus doing the default strategies like fire?
I think obviously that they are going to, whether we like it or not, they're going to bring something new because a lot of these teams, haven't really played with each other. There are a lot of teams who haven't really had a chance to dominate in the country so far, and yeah, they're obviously going to be bringing something fresh to the game today.
Hopefully they do, but now the game has begun, so let's hope that they bring the energy, bring the fire, bring the action, and I will leave you guys with Agfire and Iro. Good luck and have fun to all of the teams.
All right, let's get set and ready to go to another beautiful day of the Nodwin in Concy, and we're joined right here with my beautiful co-caster Arrow, and it is going to be an amazing day. We got so many different teams on board with us, as you can already see that flight path going all the way from Kameshki towards the area surrounding Quarry and Ferry Pier towards that southwestern region right there, and teams are already beginning to fly, jump out of their plane. We do see the boys from outsiders heading towards that position point, but they usually land at Rosehawk. Some teams already, the boys from Shark, heading towards that region around Gesnaya. We got the boys from Citizens, I do believe, heading towards that region around Milta and Shelter. And all these teams, all three boys, are heading towards that Jojopo region, north and south. And we can already see teams beginning to hold their several different spots. How do you think this one is going to go, Aero? Are we going to see mad action coming down from all of these teams, or are we going to see a very cautious lobby today?
Honestly, I feel like with maybe the guys knowing they where they're at in terms of the leaderboard, as well as the weeks remaining in the Inkosi. I mean, if you could correct me, how many weeks are left right now?
I'm not sure. I think we have 2 more weeks after this. I believe
Yeah,
so.
so for some of these teams, like you mentioned, for them it is, they have the opportunity to take advantage of today, seeing that we don't have greedy for kills, horse esports, venom mori, etc. Then it becomes an easier task for them to grasp a lot of points onto the leaderboard. So I really feel that, and I hope that we see these teams being aggressive, because they need to then take advantage of this, especially teams like Outsiders, Citizens, etc., who have been in the competitive environment for quite a bit. So let's see exactly what happens. But I'm hoping a very active game comes into play for the teams that know what is at stake. They know the risks of how many weeks is remaining versus how many points they actually have.
Yeah, definitely. Lovely point made right there. As we can see already, the boys from TP getting into some action right there on the kill feed. TP is another one of those West African teams who haven't had a lot of chances to qualify for the Unconsi. Will obviously be looking to grab themselves some points right there. We do see right now a focus on the boys from O3. They're one of the boys who have been performing quite well in other competitions that we have been noticing around the African region so far. They're a new clan, they're upcoming, they've been showcasing what they are capable of. Nexus and his boys, which Needs and Nova, have been absolutely dominating in several different competitions. But because they're a new clan coming all the way into the Northern competition, they have to battle and pass and move up through those ranks. They haven't had quite an easy time as they've been having in other competitions. It's not been a walk in the park for them, as they have had to struggle and grind out qualifying. I do believe this is the third time they've been able to qualify in the Nkansi, but it'll be
Ish.
curious to see how they can perform today.
Yeah, when you look at it, 8 weeks, only three of them being able to qualify, it's not looking too great on the overall leaderboard for teams like that. So they need to then take full advantage, like a situation for Greedy for Kills, where they get almost 70, 80 points in a single day. That there really makes a impact on where you position on the overall leaderboard.
Yeah, definitely, definitely, definitely. Citizens, another one of those teams, we've been talking about throughout the entire season, do have the ability to perform extremely well. And just like O3, they've been doing really well in other competitions around the African region. And it will be curious to see how they actually do perform today within the Unconti, if they can replicate those performances that we've been seeing them, hold in other competitions. And they do have the chance to actually begin to showcase that right now, as they have a team right there in front of them. They got the boys from AP, and you can already see Kumala getting really close to the players right there. Be curious to see who actually does get the first knock, as the boys from Citizens are preparing to engage into a fight right now. They're coming up against a full team who I'm not sure if they are currently aware of the position that the boys from Citizens are currently holding, but you can see Komala and the rest of the boys are getting ready to make that move. It does look like 11 and Kumalala are actually just deciding to retreat for a little bit, bounce back. I do think that they are just two men within this region and deciding, hey, you know what, it's better for us to take this consciously, just move away from that one and get into a safer region. So Arrow, like I just want you to, probably just analyze this particular position that they're currently sitting at. You understand what I mean?
Honest, Honestly, the play from 11 and Kumalama is that they've made the right decision to disengage and get into a fair play, which balances a 2v4. Because Alpha Pack, you can already see very much aggressive in this situation, throwing in a couple grenades, but however, wasting some important utilities. And you can see Waza and the guys, they have a good sort of formation that they're building up over here, and they're trying to get a wide attack on these players right here. But the way 11 and as well as Kulamala have set up, this is great right here.
Oh, and you can see 11 already beginning to get into the fight right there, as he's able to reduce a little bit of the HP. I can already see off in the distance, Bego already getting close, so their teammates are actually looking to join them. For now, they're just trying as much as possible to stall, and that's exactly what 11 is doing. You can already see the rest of the players from Citizens beginning to approach this region and coming in from behind. 11 is got to be careful, as his HP is reduced seriously. The boys from Alpha Park are looking to make that move. Waza already get close, but 11 and the rest of the team holding them really strong, but able to get that knock, and the rest of the teammates from Citizens aren't able to come in as quickly as they probably could have. And the rest of the teammates from Citizens have got to make a decision to themselves right now. Are they going to try and make this push right here, or are they going to back out? But it doesn't look like Bego is going to be backing out from this one, as he is just holding his position right there. He starts to begin to take on shots. He gets another knock right there onto those players. He gets another knock right now, and all of a sudden, the boys from Citizens are looking like fighting the boys from Alpha Park, and it is all down to the one player who has to hold things up. And whilst they're still trying as much as possible to fight it on for their teammates as they take down the third guy from Citizens, the boys from Alpha Park are still looking like they can actually win this particular fight. Coming up against Bego, it is just now a 1v2, and regardless of however way this goes, it's mutually a short destruction on both sides, and be curious to see who actually does win that last one.
Oof, such a mess coming out from both teams right here. Citizens with the communication and split play didn't go in favor for them, and as well has 11 and Kulamala, where they could have really tried to disengage as much as possible in that position. Their formation was broken by the aggressive play coming out from Alpha Pack, and Alpha Pack handled themselves quite well against that 4v2. However, losing two players in a trade against a 4v2 was not really the ideal sort of outcome coming out from Alpha right now. And even here, Citizens trying to maybe trade even more kills in this position could be quite detrimental to the remaining players. He could have gone in for a rack play, and there goes a Kobe throw. But that's not connected. Yet was praying and praying. Guys get one knock, but he can't get the finish. And this right here from both teams, I would have to say, isn't the way you go in a off-spawn fight. The trades for Alpha Pack, yes, they've won all 4 kills, but now they're going into the end game has 2 players, and we know how the numbers play a huge impact towards the end.
I do believe a lot of times, you got to be really careful when it comes to the 2-2 splits. The boys from Citizens, getting a couple of knocks right there early on, they could have actually won that particular fight. 11 did a lot to hold it on for his teammates, but Bego and, the last player were not just able to push in and get into position quite in time. And I do think that that's what lost that particular fight from them. They shown glimpses of being able to fight, being able to hold things down, and obviously I do believe they will go back to the drawing board, come back in the next game and show what they're actually capable of. All right, so the boys from Citizens getting taken out quite early on as we're moving into that final, region within the zone right here. You still got the boys from, well, not the final region, the second region within the zone. You still got the boys from Outsiders. You got TP now beginning to make the rotation. O3 still sitting down right there towards that not Jojo pole, but they can rotate into that center where you do have Shooting Rage and Seveni. You got the boys from TP rotating. You got LW as well. You got God. You got CLS, Danny Brown, Roach, and the other players who we haven't talked about, who have incredible, immense, firepower within their team, all now beginning to make their move towards that zone. And it is crazy as we still got 13 teams right here, and we're moving towards a space where the zone is really like, looking at this zone area, right? While we're just in the second zone, for me, it's sort of like the fourth zone, because half of it
Yeah.
right now is sitting within the water.
Honestly, right now you're looking at CLS, LW rotating through one path right here, but O3 brothers and the rest have already sort of set up base. So I don't know. I feel like we're potentially going to start seeing some bloodshed in just within moments over here. And then you also have the likes of God coming in from behind, Sextuton and La Darida, etc. So some shots are bound to fire off over here, but it's good that all these players are rotating in vehicles, giving them an easier rotation past the crowded areas. And what I'm just seeing is maybe also a lot of passiveness coming out from teams that have already set up base, not looking to be too much of a target on their back by putting themselves out there.
Yeah, great stuff, great stuff coming down there. We do see the boys from outsiders. We haven't really spoken much about them throughout this entire game so far, but the one other team that does have the firepower to be able to perform as much as possible. They do have, looking at the lineup, a very old, I would say a very old traditional outsiders team, as they do have Pintwa, they have Orisha, they have Rasta, who are part of sort of like that original outsiders team. They've been together for quite a while. They're a very old team who have been playing together for a really long time. And coming in right now, maybe that would enable them to perform a lot better, as they've got Wonder within their team who has had a lot of experience coming from clans like Shell Shock, who was one of those top clans at some point. Now coming into the outsiders team, maybe he'll be able to finally show what he's capable of within the comp scene right here. At the boys from outsiders rotating towards their several spots, we'll be paying attention onto several different teams, as we've got the boys from CLS who we talked about early on, now beginning to get into the action right there. We do see Manny getting taken out right there by one of the players from Tapu Clan. We haven't heard much about them, but King coming into the mix right now, getting one knock right here. Tapu is one of those clans that I haven't really heard much about them,
Mm,
but if they've got fans right there watching right now, tell us a little bit about their team. Let us know a little bit about the
mm.
history. We want to know about them. We want to know where they're from, what they do, and all of that stuff. But coming in right here, they've taken out one of the players from CLS or more of the players from CLS, as we do see Roach retreating away from that region. So obviously they're no pushover team. They do know how to fight. They're coming into the lobby for the first time, but they're performing.
They are performing, and it's good rotations coming out from them. And like I mentioned, you are going to have the likes of CLS eventually shedding some blood right now. On the other side of things, so it does look like O3 Brother is very passive, gone in with just rotating and keeping to one another over there, not really getting involved in any long range or even battles to put themselves in. They're just trying to stick in to get into the best sort of position they can find themselves each zone. And I beg to differ that that should be the strategy, because when you look at the points and overall, it comes down to who has been active and who has survived the longest. Because you can have going up until first, second, etc., but with no eliminations, it's just not going to work. And right now, what's happening with God Esports is that they are finding themselves in a predicament in such a small area. Nightmare Esports really coming down like it's Nightmare on Elm Street, because they are dealing the damage, getting all the eliminations and confirmations of God Esports right over there. And that is not looking good, but it is looking good towards the Nightmare Esports, because they pick up so many eliminations. We've got teams rotating on the edge over here, but unable to connect any shots.
Yeah, definitely. You can see Junior right there getting a couple of knocks right there as he took out the boys from Nightmare Esports, and now going into this circle right here. We're in the third circle so far. The boys from AP are still looking quite strong in this one. We did see some action coming down between the boys from outsiders, as they did take out a couple of players from a team right there. We will be taking a look at how many kills they got so far when we tune into the boys from outsiders. But we got 12 teams right here within this zone, and in about 1 minute, we're going to be shifting into the next circle. So, how have you seen this game going so far, Arrow? Does it live up to your predictions? For me, I've been seeing like mad action from the beginning of this particular game. It doesn't look like teams are holding back. It doesn't look like they're stopping, and we're going to continue to
Mm.
see great action today.
Honestly, already looking at a couple teams with 4 kills already. I mean, you looked at Nightmare Esports right now, they picked up 4. Then you look at the likes of the situation we had at the Citizens, they picked up 4 eliminations for themselves. So, really, people are picking up some kills, but Junie right now finding himself going down at a long range shot. And I wonder who could potentially have brought that in for him. But it does look like Lada Arada is trying to get in to get some cover and just try get that revive in play. But a lot of gunfire is coming in from O3 Brothers, if I'm not mistaken. And a Nightmare Esports in a good position, I would say. They are on that hill, on that terrain, which gives them sort of an advantage. If a team is to push upwards, they would know exactly what to do over there. But yeah, teams are looking quite aggressive. I'm enjoying it. You have some other teams like Rising YouTube Stars who tending to be a bit more passive on the other point of view, but there's still so much possibility to pick up some eliminations because we have 39 players remaining.
Yeah, all right. We still got about 39 players right there. As you've heard from Arrow, we're in the fourth zone right now. It's going to be shifting very soon into that fifth zone. And you can see a lot of these teams are just trying as much as possible to hold their position. They're blocking, their line of view with several different smokes. You do see the boys from Nightmare Esports. They've gotten themselves 4 kills. They're just really close to the boys from O3. And this is that moment where teams like O3 Outsiders have got to prove themselves. You can see Outsiders O3 and the boys from Nightmare are within the same region. You can see River Boy pointing this direction onto King right there and taking on shots, but he's now deciding to just move away from that region because it was really open in that particular spot. He does have a team who just bounce right in front of him, a player actually, and he comes down from there, gets one knock, goes in that drop shot position, and
Ooh.
does get another one. Oh my goodness. Rival Boy putting in the work right there as he does get a couple of kills right now. Battleground and down to only one player. It's just King who's on board right here. He's seen two of his players by Rival Boy gets him taken down right there, and it is an absolutely phenomenal gameplay coming in from Rival Boy right there. Maybe King might have been able to provide some support if he had rotated towards that particular spot, but staying at the flank position was probably the plan to offer some firepower from an angle. But my goodness, what a lovely gameplay coming in from Rifle Ball as we are down to 36 players within this lobby.
It is moving down slowly towards the end of the year. Players have set up, but we're within moments right now when the zone starts to rotate. We are going to be seeing it become a bit of a trouble with so many players alive right here, because young esports there, they need to rotate right out of that position over there. It's not going to be easy. Unseen invaders, only three of them in the match right now. They have zero eliminations and they've gone in for the passive rotations, but it starts to get a bit difficult when you've chosen passive, because the nerves start to get a bit heavy towards the end, where we start to see the moving zones being circle or being smaller and smaller. So I would prefer a team picking up one or two eliminations to the off spawn. And ooh, what a pickup coming up from Rising YT as he manages to pick up that kill in the lurks over there. It's like two hunters, just one taking the other one out due to the advantage of spotting him out earlier. But this now means that the position of Habibi just might be in a position where unseen invaders know exactly where he is.
Yeah, exactly. We do see right there the boys from YT Habibi, trying to retreat to his teammates right there, but he's got to be careful. There are players from unseen invaders that might be able to get a shot onto them. Habibi just retreating onto his players right there, holding a better position with his team, making the right call right there. We're down to 33 players right here, and there's been so much violence going on. The boys from CLS are trying as much as possible to rotate into that zone as they do get into the position where White currently is at. But you can see the boys from Rising Stars YT taking on shots towards several different teams. Roach is still in this game. He'll be looking as much as possible to get that revive, but you can see that Zaydin is having none of it as he does get that finish onto that player right there. Now he'll be going in for that revive onto Habibi, who got knocked out right there, and he still got the players right there up on that hill. JFK from Tapu is still. JFK King from Tapu is still holding his own down as the boys from Unseen Invaders, War God, is right next to King. And I'm curious to see how this one actually does play out. Is King going to get that knock onto War God, or is it going to be War God sending them out of the game finally, with the resilient King just holding his own down right there behind that rock? We do see some action going down between the boys from O3 and the boys from Outsiders right there on the kill feed as they are currently taking out themselves. It is a lot of action going down right here within the lobby as the boys from LW have lost a couple of players right there, as several different players were just shooting around their region. You can see the boys from Outsiders now taking on shots onto TP03 as well, getting a couple of shots onto several different players. Outsiders getting a knock onto Nexus O3, and O3 still in this
Mm,
game. Outsiders still in this game. The boys from LW
yeah.
potentially might have gotten lobbied and sent out, but it is a very crazy gameplay so far as King is still holding his own down behind that rock.
He might need to move any time now. And honestly, to where is the question? Because we have 11 teams allocated in such a small area. He's got that grenade ready, but it doesn't choose to throw it. And he knows there's an enemy over there. So it comes down to who waits out the longest. For Warguard and Blaze, they can sit comfortably because the zone comes towards them. And now he's sitting in zone, if I'm not mistaken. He's going to tank a couple damage right now. So he needs to put on pressure onto Warguard right there. And he does throw in a grenade, but it doesn't look like it's going to work out in his favor. King takes a couple shots. He does get the knock. And Warguard downed. Blaze to the left. Could he potentially find him some support? He does throw in the grenade to maybe get in the knock over here, but no, doesn't get the confirmation as Warguard has managed to move his location.
All right. King looking for that confirmation right there onto Warguard, as we do see several different teams right here on the kill feed putting in the work right there. All right, so let's take a look at King and see what move he's gonna make. He's smoking things out, trying as much as possible to stay alive within this game. Tap the plan to somehow being kept in this game, but right now we're running outside thanks to the boys from O3. As you can see, Shark right there getting a couple of knocks, and oh my goodness, Starboy, the last one for his team. Code has gotten taken down. Shark 2022 still in this game, holding it down as they want to be turning the sides onto the boys from O3 and the boys from Outsiders. As one more player from Outsiders currently got taken down, you can see Starboy trying as much as possible to get that revive onto his teammate. We still got the boys from AP with a one player. They got Waza not too far away from TP. The boys from Outsiders are still in this game. I'm not sure how many players they do have left. O3 is still rocking. I think about 3 players in this game. They got Nexus who comes
Ew.
in there, takes down Starboy, and Nexus himself, who's a Starboy within his team, going up against several different teams and looking to wipe them and annihilate them from the game. The boys from O3 currently sitting down with 7 kills. They've still got about 3 players left within the game, and they'll be looking to take out the last player from Shark 2022. You can see they're already beginning to make their move right there as they throw in that grenade, and Schlitz right there gets that final knock. Taunt the boys from TP as well, putting in damage in this game as Psycho does get a knock right there. And Psycho and Steroids, the last one for their team TP, as we're down to 4 teams so far. The 4 teams we have is O3, we got TP. I do believe we have the boys from Outsiders and CLS, but I'm not really sure. I still have to take a look at other teams right there.
Hmm.
But Arrow, taking a look at the lobby so far, what's that team that's exciting you? Who do you think is going to grab home that winner chicken dinner?
I mean, right now, when we're looking at O3 Brothers, they're sitting on, I believe, the most eliminations. So they seem to be very comfortable. But I'm worried that they have 3 players right here. But it does look like it's pretty much even in terms of numbers across the field because we have 4 teams, 10 remaining. So that means we have 3-3-3-1, if I'm not mistaken. And O3 Brothers, 9 kills. Their position is quite fair. I would have to give it to them. No one's in the circle right now. No one has opted to go into the circle just yet. And obviously, they don't want to put themselves onto the targets of many scopes. So, right here, I believe O3 Brothers could potentially be walking away just by the fact that they've been the most active among the last 4 remaining.
All right, let's see if they are going to be walking away with this one. We got Blaze and his teammate Wargod right there holding things down. We got the boys from YT. So actually, it is YT, it is Blaze and his boy, it is TP and OD. Last 4 teams right there. You can see OD losing 1 player. Rice right there as he does get taken down. You see the boys from TP and Steroids, the last one in that particular team. They've got to be careful. They're taking on shots from several different corners right there as YT is also coming into the mix right about now. They've got to get into the zone. The zone's beginning to push in. We're down to the 7th zone, and there's a lot of violence coming in from several different corners. Looking to get that revive. See Steroids right there getting a knock and a finish right there onto steroids. 0-3 now down to just a one
Mm.
player. We're getting into that final spot within that zone. The boys on white here down to one player as well. And right now it's a 2v1v1, except these two teams can somehow get the revive onto themselves. I do believe what God is currently taking down, and I'll be curious to see how that one actually does play out. As we have Schnitz, we have Bilal, and we have Wargod and Blaze fighting in for that winner chicken dinner. And who's going to get this one? One grenade from Bilal coming into that position where Blaze and Wargod are currently sitting now could take them out of the game and leave a battle between Schnitz and Bilal. I'm curious to see how this one actually does play out. You can see Bilal sending on shots onto that region as War God is standing up. He's still got the tree blocking him from Schnitz. And I'm curious to see how Bilal actually does decide to play this one. He's looking around to see if there's another team. That's why he's currently not stood up. But my goodness, what a position that they are currently at. Let's see how this one does play out.
This just might be a disadvantage for Wargod and his team right over there because they're somehow in a sandwich, yes, across two different teams. But if Wargod and them try to take shots, you may have Schnitz who will take in on the opportunity to get involved on that third party. But eventually, all teams right now remaining, the three of them, now need to make this rotation into such a tiny area. And if you look at it, there's no trees to get that cover. So it comes down to maybe a potential who moves first into the safe zone. And by the looks of it, Blaze and Wargod's HP is not the best right here. So they will need to start moving downwards as soon as that blue zone touches them. On the other side of things, Schnitz is very alone in that area, very open as well. But maybe the grass giving a little bit of cover right now, and maybe he doesn't want to take the first shot in the last three remaining teams. He rather wants to go in for the third party, in which he knows he could potentially have. Blaze, on the other hand, goes in for the sacrificial lamb as he goes in, but Schnitz now can potentially coming from behind and get this right over here, but it's not able to pick up a shot right now. Tags for one, gets another shot, but it's just not looking too good. And it does look like Wargod manages to win this one over here with a fantastic scope onto Schnitz over there, and does end things for a winner chicken to Wargod and his team.
Oh, amazing gameplay coming in that final circle from War God and managing to grab that winner chicken dinner. But we can't take it away from the boys from 0-3 as they do grab themselves 11 kills going into that final circle.
Wow, guys, that was more action packed than I thought it would be. Congratulations to Wargod for clutching that up and taking it for his team. That was really something to watch, considering that, everybody was surrounded, everybody was being aimed at. You can't get a kill without getting traded. And, every team had at least one player taken out, so it was sort of kind of even, and it just came down to whoever played it the best. But Iro, please let us know how you feel. Like, what are your impressions of how that game ended?
Honestly, I felt like I gave commentator curse to 0-3 brothers because they were, all three alive, and I say they're gonna win the game. Then two goes down. Schnitz honestly played it to the best that he could. However, his just aiming was not there for him because he didn't have a view on an incline, because that's where the likes of Wargod had an advantage to Schnitz. And I like how Blaze became the sacrificial lamb in order to just take out that one worrying player. They knew that the other player would obviously be behind, but Blaze had to go in on a 1v1. He did lose the 1v1, but it was Wargod to get the final elimination to take the third team out. And then it was a one-on-one situation between Schnitz and Wargod. Schnitz had the first sort of shots onto Wargod, but unfortunately it was Wargod who had the better aim and the better view onto his opponent to win that game. But when we look at that overall leaderboard, maybe when the leaderboard does show, we are going to see that 0-3 brothers will still be ahead of them just due to the fact that they were able to grab in a lot more kills. I think they had 11 in total in the end over there. So really, we start to see that message that you have to balance your eliminations to how much placement you get. So when winning a winner chicken dinner with about 4 kills, I don't think in my books that's something that we can celebrate as an achievement.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it time and time again. Eliminations and, placement points hold the same, weight, because either one of them could, get you, with the win at the end of the week, and, get you that $105. So, you have to take into account both sides. So Agfire, who do you think might be taking the MVP, considering that, the O3 brothers did away with go away with 11 kills?
Yeah, I'm gonna say Schnitz. I'm not really sure. Him and Exos. I'm not really sure, but I saw them get
Well,
into the
let's
action
take
a
a
lot.
look.
But it is
Wow.
TP steroids. Well, okay, okay, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, well deserved. We saw him get, a knockout towards that final circle. We saw him take down Nexus, and that was a game changer, for the boys from O3. They might have gone into winning that particular game if, you know, Nexus wasn't taken down, and they still had about a three-man squad going into that final road. So, final, fight with the winners there. But yeah, great stuff coming down from steroids.
Yeah, congratulations to steroids. Now, let's take a look at the match ranking. Let's see where these teams are standing after that brilliant match. So the O3 brothers are on top. Wow, with 23 points. Of course, the eliminations plus the place points got them there. They're both equally as important. Then we have the Unseen Invaders with 15 place points, total points of 19, and 4 eliminations. We have the Outlaw Spiriteds with 8 and 8 and 16 as a total. Iro, please let me know how you feel about this list right here, and if you could break it down for us as well.
Yeah, honestly, we saw O3 brothers very consistent. Alpha Pack Esports made it into a good position of kills, and that brought them up until fifth with 9 total points. Cyclone Shield Esports, they could do a lot more better when it comes down to the eliminations. Currently sitting on 8. Then we go Nightmare Esports 7 and 6. Now Nightmare Esports went in very aggressive, had a lot of eliminations, 6 in total, but only 1 kill, only 1 placement point. So I then you have to also say, okay, well, you have to balance your placement points to your eliminations. You can't go all out and be a John Wick. There's only one John Wick that can exist, and we all know him making his fourth debut of John Wick. So right here, honestly, this page looking just as you would expect due to the fact that they were there in the end game or had a lot of eliminations. Then the likes of Outsiders officials, 4 eliminations, 1 placement point. Tapu Clan, shout out to Kin. He did try his level best to get those eliminations and placement points, but it just didn't work out. Citizens Esports had a bit of a tumble where they lost 4 of their players in that fight over there due to the fact that I don't think communication was too clear on what the approach is going to be on the 2v4. We did have the call for emergency come through, but it was a bit too late, and that's where they actually got the 2 eliminations. And then the rest of the players here, they can just try to get back in it in Sandhawk. We've seen how some players don't do too well in Erangel. Then Sandhawk, it's an absolute bang.
Definitely, Sanhok is it's gonna be something that's unpredictable. That map always is. But now I want to talk about the battle between Alpha and Citizens. Agfire, do you believe that Citizens Sozen, when Alpha took out most of Citizens, do you believe that Citizens, the last member, do you believe that he played it well? Do you think that he should have pushed those last two members of Alpha, or do you believe that he should have fallen back and tried to get those placement points?
I think they did the right thing pushing. They didn't make much mistakes there. The only mistake was just the timing. I feel like they should have gotten into that fight quite early on before their teammates were lobbied. But these things happen sometimes. You just miss one split second and the fight changes entirely. They probably would, or no, they definitely would have won that fight if they had gotten there earlier on. But sometimes these things happen, and they do have another chance to show what they're capable of in the next map.
Yeah, I mean, GG's go next. You gotta try again, and you gotta make better decisions. But I noticed that you mentioned that Alpha was wasting their utility when in the beginning of that fight with the Citizens before they managed to clutch it up. Please explain how utility usage should be, done correctly. If, like, let's
You,
say if you were in the position.
how I'd go about it is, you're looking at Alpha just throwing in grenades, but however, not knowing where their actual location is. Where you have intel is where you can then start using your utilities, but without intel and hoping you get some tags, it's just hope for wishing. So I believe we should see a more clear intel coming from the team in order to then utilize those grenades, because when they got them into such a small circle where it was 2v4, they could have honestly then used those utilities to pinch them out into the open and then get some kills.
Well, I hope that they heed that advice. And, some of these teams may be experiencing a bit of pressure, especially since we're getting closer to the end of the Inkosi Super Cup Season 5. I wanted to ask you, Akfire, since the pressure might be getting to them, what advice would you have for the teams, or the team members who may overheat in a fight, experiencing the pressure of being watched, all the scopes on them, you know what I mean? What advice would you have for them, for those who overheat?
I think every single team I've seen here today is not afraid to fight. I think when I look at, I'll take the Boston Citizens as a case study. They got taken out quite early on. You just have to study. You have to work together as a team. Get there quite early. They do know how to play. So I'm just sure that that was obviously a miscalculation on their part, not knowing. Probably if it was a full team that was pushing them. I mean, they did make some nice decisions. You did see 11 trying to hold them back right there, but the teammates, obviously they would have been telling their teammates, what, get closer to us, get to us quite quickly. So it's those kind of situations you've got to be, a bit sharper with, approaching and supporting your teammates. And I think that that was the difference here today.
Well, yeah, let's hope that they, do better and make better decisions in Sandhawk. Now, Iro, who do you think adapted to the situation the best, considering how bit chaotic it was, on those hills? Who adapted to the situation the best of all the teams?
Ooh, yeah, it's gonna be tough to say because I don't know. When it comes down to just heals, and I know that heals always give you the best advantage and so forth. But then when seeing these teams, they don't really take full advantage over it. War God, he did really great in that position, but that's because Schnitz put himself out there without a great consistent aim. If his aim was consistent, he would have won that easily. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's gonna be tough to say who would take full advantage.
Now, none of us are professionals. We're just over here sitting on the desk talking about the game. But I'm still a little bit curious, about your own personal playstyle. So, Agfire, let's say you're down to two team members. You know what I mean? And let's say you're in the end game now. It's the final zone. You're in the top 5, and but you're down to two team members, and like every other team might also be down to two team members, except for the one team that's closest to you and trying to push you. Let's say they have 4. Now, with your own playstyle, what would you do in that situation? Would you push them? Would you ego the situation? Would you fall back for placement points, or would you take advantage of it because it's the final zone?
I'm a very aggressive player. I'll push. I'll push till I'm taken off. I'll push to the end. Yeah, that's me. That's my play style. It might not be the right thing to do, but for me, I'll push. I'll push. I love
Yeah,
the aggressive play. Pa pa pa. More like Scarface. Say hello to my little friend.
I'm an aggressive player as well, and I don't make the best decisions. I might just run out into the open and just like, yeah, who wants this? Who wants this smoke? Come here. I'll probably just throw
Nice.
all the smokes down, run through, and try and get as many kills as I can. But Iro, let us know your play style. What would you do in that situation?
Be smart. You're outnumbered. You don't want to be. Hello to my little friend. I think Scarface died in the end, didn't he? Like I don't know, but like you need to play it smart in the sense where if it's end game, you're a solo player. You outnumbered. Play it very slow until it's literally the end, where you can then hope for 1v2, 1v3, but a second place still gets you the most points other than going out trying to get eliminations, etc. it takes a miracle to have a 1v3 and 1v4 situation. And me and myself, I have seen this before in the previous season, etc. We've seen 2v4s, etc. in the season 5, but a 1v4 is way much more hype moments, etc. But it only happens once in a blue moon, and that player needs to be on the highest level of mentality in order to pull it off. So really, it's for me as well. It's just gonna be play it smart, go to the end, try get placement points. If I die, it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. And speaking of mentality, you just made me think about this. Honestly, I don't know how they do it. How do they keep coming back? What kind of mentality do you need to have to come back week after week, not knowing if you're even going to take it this week or if you're even going to make it to the top eight, especially if you don't even, make it to, let's say, to the top five, you didn't perform well. I don't understand how you have that sort of like willpower to come back. I don't know if I could. But actually, what sort of mentality would you need to have to be able to just come back?
I mean, you just have to be consistent. Trying as much as possible to get into that final circle. Trying as much as possible to listen to your IGL, who obviously knows what he's doing. He's gotten you into those positions the last time, especially if you've done it before. Then it becomes easier because now you know you can do it. Right? You begin to believe in your IGL's ability to get you into the Inkosi every single week because it's a whole different ball game. So yeah, it is consistency. It's belief in your abilities and also your IGL's ability to get you in every single week. It's a bunch of things, and it's working out for them.
Now, based on synergy, if you're gonna have that, if you're gonna have that hunger as well, you're gonna need synergy. If you're gonna have consistency to come back and listen to your IGL, you're gonna need synergy as well. So, Iro, which team do you think had the best synergy? Let's say in the final zone, rather.
I would have to go with Wargod. They won the game, so that meant they worked it out quite well. And if you even see, like I say, the sacrificial lamb play, that was a genius decision. Whether Blaze or Wargod is an IGL or the player that was there in IGL, the decision making over there was clear, communicated, and Blaze understood the risk of going into that one-on-one, and Walker was there to then clean it up and then fight for the winner chicken dinner. So a team that's able to win in the final bouts means they had the better decision making and synergy going into it. The team like O3 brothers, where they started aggressive going in, they had the better synergy from the off spawn to end game because they had 11 eliminations. They were sticking together. They were making the right decision making in order to get to that pot. But would I say did they have the best synergy going into the final circle? No, they didn't. They lost two players in that rotation over there, and it came down to Schnitz, who maybe isn't the IGL, and the IGL said just wait it out for the one-on-one situation, but they didn't win the game. So that means no, they didn't finish the strongest and the best synergized team. So I'd have to go over to Warguard and Blaze for finishing on top. And I believe there were 3 out of 4 going into this entire game, and that's why they played so passive. So they rarely played to the top of their abilities throughout the entire game.
Well, they did, and they got away with the win as well. But now, I'm sorry, guys. I'm a little bit, I'm a little bit slow when it comes to PUBG. So I'm just not understanding how the O3 brothers had 3 members and didn't take it away. What could they have done differently to have changed that outcome, Agfire? Like, I don't understand how that happened.
I think it was more of the genius coming down from TP, and how they sort of like were trying as much as possible to battle their way in. You did see steroids take down Nexus, and I did believe they had already the Boston TP had already taken out one player from O3 before then. So O3 was already reduced to 2 men before steroids took out Nexus, which then took them down to one player. Right? It was the boys from TP trying as much as possible to battle things out with them, and just take them out of the game. So it's these things happen sometimes, when two teams who are really good or players who are really good come against each other, they just, annihilate each other, one on one. But at the end of the day, all three came out on top of with just one player left alive, and that was Schnitz. So these things do happen. These things do happen. Yeah.
They do happen, we have to just, move and do better the next time. But since Iro has already put his Costas curse on O3 brothers, let's try to give them a chance. Iro, come on, put it on someone else. Who you think is gonna take the next map?
Uh, let's put it on Cyclone Shield. The only reason why is I'm hoping they perform. We saw them last week. They didn't really have the best of week as well. So I'm maybe taking all the luck. Let's put our hands up in the sky. Let's have a Goku moment and send it to Cyclone over there.
Well, I've seen God Esports, pull some hats out of the bag, some tricks out of the bag, even though they're very passive. I'm not gonna put it on them. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Agfire, who you gonna put yours on?
Hmm. I think I'm gonna go with Tapu. I mean, I saw some, gameplay coming in from them. King was getting into some action. They seem like a team that may be able to show what they're capable of. So I'm gonna give it to Tapo this time around.
I mean, come on, man. Come on, man. Don't do that to them. I actually kind of want to see them perform. I actually kind of want to see them take something this
No,
week,
but
man.
he's
Come
being
on.
genuine about it. He's being genuine. He wants them to do well. But I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. I don't. When we want someone to do well, it just somehow doesn't work in the Costa's favor. I don't know why that is. But you also know the expectations of that team, and you know they can do well. Then you come to question like, what happened? And then it becomes the Costa's curse because we brought it up.
Well, I
Yeah.
want to
True.
know,
True.
like, since you are more focused on the Umzansi side of things, Aro, please let us know. What kind of smoke can we expect? If the teams are, of course, gonna be facing them at some point.
So what's nice about Umzansi is that every week you have the same level of players and teams going into the maps, etc., into the three games. It isn't about who qualifies for the three games. It's about consistency. So I will land at boot camp. The one other team will land in Narango. They will go to Query or whatever. So not to go to certain environment, certain POIs. So there's a level of respect for one another over there. And the level of gameplay is far much more slower going into the end games, going into the final rounds over there. You do tend to see the guys being much more slower. So really the level of competitive is so high.
Well, let's hope that the Inkosi teams can handle them. But now the game has begun. So once again, I will leave you with Agfire and Iro, and good luck and have fun to all of the teams.
Let's go. All right. All right. All right. All right. We're back for some more action right here, and we're getting set and ready, 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 ready to go. We do see several different teams, or we did see several different teams last map just go absolutely wild, absolutely crazy. We saw some action coming down from the boys from Citizen quite early on as they went up against, I do believe it was the boys from Alpha Park, correct me if I'm wrong, Arrow. Um, we do see the boys from O3 as well. Heading
Hmm.
towards Painan, they've probably got a team right there with them. It does look like we're going to be seeing a fight between Citizens and another team right there in boot camp. We do see all the way in Paradise. We do have the boys from CLS going up against the boys from High. I do believe that's High Damage. I'm not sure if that's the name
Hmm.
of the clan. Outsiders as well, heading towards that region around Ruins. It might be getting into a skirmish with a team right there, and several different teams are just basically spaced out right now, going to be looking in for their own loot. Going into this next zone right there, you do see a couple of the regions within that zone situated around in the water, like we did see in that last map. And right there, we do have the boys from Citizens getting into the action already, as they are already beginning to get into the mix and take out a couple of players right there. As we have started, they do have one kill to the name, and there's still about three players for them to be going up against and to take on. Who do you think is going to win this fight, Arrow? Who is going to get out of boot camp. And do you think any team, including the boys from Citizens, are going to lose a player?
Honestly, the way I've seen things lately, yes, they will lose a player, but they might just come out and top in terms of this off-spawn fight that they have right here in front of them right now. And there we go. First player goes down, 11 from Citizens, like as I expected them to do. But it's a quick response from God Yi to say, "Hey, I'm here to revive you and get you back on your feet." But Latara may potentially find himself in a pickle right now. The Nightmare Esports top lane to the best of their capabilities. He goes down and he jumps straight into the window, but into the slap of bullets that is going to be for him. Junie down to literally 1 HP, and he might just die to this fall damage. Nope, I'm joking. But rarely running around here with no HP. If you laugh at him or breathe at him, he will just evaporate.
Currently, this position where Judy is at right now, even Breeze can send him back into the lobby, but he does find some meds and is able to heal. Might be looking to escape this region where you do have the boys of Citizens coming in right there and looking for that final guy. All right, so the boys from Citizens pretty much winning that particular one. They haven't lost any member right here. They had one player who got taken down, 11, who I do believe is their fragger. So he obviously will always be the player getting himself into those dangerous positions. Junie trying as much as possible to escape away, but he's still rotating somewhere around the region where you have the boys from Citizens. And I do believe that they probably would have heard him right now as Bego and 11 will be looking to take out that last guy. We do have Bego right there, 11 looking for the last player. Bego has got to be really careful. He probably needs to go with one player from Citizens, as Junie might be looking to take down one player with him before he gets taken out and sent back into the lobby. You can see Bego right there just looking for that final guy. Komalala has now come into his support as they are trying as much as possible to search into that building and find that last guy. You see Junie pretty much just staying quite still, trying as much as possible to just hide away from the boys from Citizens. Are they going to find him, or is he going to evade them and be able to escape away from this region? Now 11 is now getting into that next building, and this is where Junie now making this happen as the boys from Citizens take him out of the game and get their fourth kill of the day. Citizens starting quite early with the aggression, as we do see from them in every single game, and clearing out the boys from Nightmare right there. Turning in right now, we do have the boys from High coming up against God Esports, and we'll be looking to see how this one actually goes, as God Esports have gotten themselves one kill. So, Arrow, what do you think about that fight coming down from Citizens?
Honestly, much better than Arango. You know, they didn't trade eliminations. They still have the same four players going into mid game, etc. So absolutely well done from him. But Junie is representing your mentality of aggression, where he believes he can go in with a 1v4. But I believe if he just maybe stuck to just that building, maybe Citizens would have been a bit thoughtful and be like, okay, you know what, we can actually do that. But all right, Tim, we've got outsiders with a little bit of a peak fight right here, and the consistency of aim not really coming out. Fahim actually doing this one quite well, and a lot of players going down. It's only left with Wonder to be the eighth wonder of the world and find out a 1v3 situation with the team right here. And unfortunately, it isn't going to be it. Does get eliminated, and Fahim, Mo, Saifi are able to pick up some eliminations as well as get the revive of their player. Mm. When you look at it, they've had a far much more better start. However, I wouldn't want to get too excited just yet. But it is a Citizens, and we've seen them in the past. So when it comes down to gun skill and etc., they can work better as a team. And right now, the communication is clear. We even saw them going in 4v1 against Juni. They stuck together. They decided to attack as one. So it means that maybe they're learning from their mistake in Erangel, and then they can apply it here in Sandhawk to try better improve their positioning on the overall standings that we have for the week. Now, it just comes down to their decision making that brings them into the end game. And I hope to see exactly what that will be looking like. But O3 Brothers nearing Super Clan, and we might have our team versus your team in a sense, because let's see exactly what goes down soon.
All right, the boys from Tapu Clan, who I did predict to perform quite well within, 2 days game or within the Sandhawk game, coming in right here with a three-man squad is just Ken, Akesh, and Blue who might be going up against the boys from O3. But here on the other side, we do have the Last Warriors also getting into a skirmish versus several different teams around them. They've got CLS, who's not too far away from them. They had another team that they just drove past, and I'm curious to see how they actually do handle the situation of so many different teams surrounding them. But turning our sights onto the boys from Tapu, who probably have just retreated away from that position where the boys from O3 were currently seated at. They're moving towards another region where I do see Cold Boy and the rest of his team members just across that bridge, and they may be running away from one trouble and moving into the next. As I do see Max moving into that position, not too far away from Blue, and it might be a skirmish, it might be a fight. We
Oh, he
might
needs
just
to
see
come
Blue
down.
getting taken out right here. He jumps into the water, he's crossing onto the other side, but he's
Oh,
going to start getting range shots right there as Max takes him down, and the team Fahim Mosefa, I'm struggling to pronounce their name, already beginning to get into the action right there. As we can see, Ken trying to make that rotation, trying to see if he can, as much as possible, support his team. But there's a teammate coming in on the side right there who might be able to take him out. There's Max on the other side who's already crossed. Cold Boy is already trying to cross that bridge and provide some support onto his teammate right there. As you can see, he jumps into the water. He's trying as much as possible to make that crossing. And right about now, the boys from Masefa putting in the work right there. Max right there coming in order, gets another knock. And right now, they have been
mm.
able to take out the boys from JFK.
But what happened with Tafu Club? Because they just decided to rotate, no scouting or whatever, just run straight into the water, not caring who is in the vicinity.
I think it's one of those situations where, Tapu was just trying to run away from a team. They were trying to make those rotations. They were rotating across an axis where they suspected, there were probably not going to be a lot of teams, and it just so happened that there was a team right there, and just got them sent out of the game. It happens sometimes, and it was just a situation of things in that moment.
Definitely, but oh, I have to say, commentator curse right over there.
Yeah, another dose of commentator costs. But right now, taking a look at things right here, we do have the boys from God Esports about to get into a fight right here. And we'll be curious to see how this one actually does play out. You do see Goods Boy
Ooh.
already beginning to make his move right there as one of the players from God Esports has been taken down. God Esports are now down to two players who are currently up. And as you can see, Gideon is trying as much as possible to battle his way out. It is just now left with Odin, who's now trying to get that revive onto Zeus. And my goodness. Goods Boy and his boys trying to make that push onto that position. But it does look like a third party coming in right there from the boys from O3, providing God Esports some time in this particular one. And they might just be able to rotate and retreat away from this position just in time.
Solo is so
Ooh.
scary when you have competitors match up like this. and in seconds you have your players going down. But Zeus and Odin left here in the God Esports. You have some grenades ready to throw. Guts Boy wide in the open. He throws a grenade, but it isn't going to connect. It isn't going to do anything here to Guts Boy, and Guts Boy may potentially have an opportunity to throw a grenade into this small little environment he's found himself in. Odin trying to get above the mannequin to get a higher viewing angle right now. Zeus and his teammate just not really going to be in a great position where the numbers are not up against him right now. And we can just wait until moments before the team decides to bring in a full attacking formation right over here.
All right, turning our sights onto the boys from Rising Stars coming up against the boys from AP. Right there, you can already see one of the players from YT is currently got taking out AP. He's not just surrounding them at this particular point in time, but Zayt putting in the work. He gets one, he gets two, and he's making that move, providing the fight for his team. And the boys from AP not looking too good right there as they do get taken out. Remember, YT is the team that came out third in that previous game. And right there, Odin trying to keep hopes alive for his team, but the boys from Shark 2022 get them sent back into the lobby. Now we're down to 10 teams in the third zone, moving all the way into that fourth zone of the night. Things are looking quite great and quite good. We do see the boys from O3 also getting into the mix right there as the team Last Warriors are facing onto the boys from CLS, and it has been mad action coming down right here. Are we going to see a fight coming down between the boys from Last Warriors and CLS, who we didn't see too much of within the last game, but we do know what they're capable of. They're a very cautious team who likes to get into the battles when they absolutely need to. So I'm curious to see how it actually does play out right here. But what do you think, Errol?
Right now, you're looking at a team lost right here. They have three of the members alive right here. So the question to become aggressive is in the air, and that's what we may potentially just see coming out from the remaining players. Is that maybe the 5-4 placement is more of the objective for game number two. But we all know that Sandhawk doesn't really reward passive players. It's such a tight environment, and when the zone starts to shrink and players getting closer and closer to one another, the the fight for space becomes evident, and now we just have to wait for that moment. But I believe right here we're not going to be seeing any action whatsoever coming out from Team Lost Wars unless they are being pushed. But I don't see them being the instigators in this situation because of their three-man members. They potentially did run away from a fight losing night and then decided to play it passive towards the end, in which we are seeing right now, because you don't go lose a team member in your team without trading as well. So the fact that they are on zero eliminations either questions that they decide to disengage and get into a passive role play, or the fact that maybe Knight wasn't a part of the rotations and they went in to split, and Knight unfortunately found an entire team ahead of him. So there's a lot that could potentially have gone wrong over there. But they got TP in this position who may have Cyclone getting some kill points. Roach right now, being the Roach he is, quietly trying to get an advantage, but he doesn't know there's two players, goes out, takes himself out over there. Bit of a reckless play coming out. And Psycho, however, also going to find himself down. You got Manny, who we know very well in the scene, manages to pick up some eliminations. He has the opportunity to pick up those confirmations as well. Remember me in a position where if he does come over that cliff, he will potentially be in a tough play.
All right, Manny in a very tough position right now, trying as much as possible to see if he can make that push, and is able to get another knock right there into another player from TP. We're talking about the boys from CLS. Early on, they're very cautious about how they take on their fights, but they lose one player right there, and it's down to just Steroids, who is one of those players who can, as much as possible, get damage onto you before he does get taken out. Lovely gameplay coming in from the boys from CLS, but now TP Steroids is in a very, very, very precarious situation. He's in a sticky situation as he's currently outside the zone. It's already beginning to make his move. He needs to go in. The boys from CLS know that. They're currently in a gatekeeping situation. TP Steroids needs to get into that zone, except he just find a way to rotate away from this position and try to get in through a position that has less players. He is bound to be get taken out of the game. But there might be a saving grace for him as the boys from High are rotating as well, and they may be able to take the attention away from the boys from CLS, and he may be able to, and that may buy him some time to move into that zone. But it's a very dangerous one for him and also for the boys from CLS, as you can see right there, as they are surrounded by several different teams. You got the boys from High, you got the boys from Shack as well, right within their vicinity, and it's a really tough time for a lot of these teams. We've still got about 9 teams left as we see the boys from YT engaging in some action not too far away from Cyclone Shields right here, and it's all down to who gets into a good spot within that zone because all these teams are really balling hard.
Ooh, Rising YT is going to put themselves in a bit of a sticky one. Plays getting some kill feeds over there, as well as Citizen. So Citizen still alive, still being aggressive in this situation. But I only see 11 in terms of purple. I don't see anyone out near him. And I don't know if they may be rotating deep in the zone, but that could be of question on exactly what went wrong in terms of Citizens right over there. And Unseen Invaders using a bit of a smoke screen in order to confuse the players. There we go. There's a bit of more Citizens right over there. So it's good to see that some of them are still alive.
Yeah, all right. The boys from Cities is getting into the fight right there, as well as the boys from YT. And I'll be curious to see how that one actually does play out. The boys from CLS also getting into a fight right there, as a couple of their players are currently getting taken out right there. As you can see, Akil getting a knock. Danny Brown providing the action right there as he does take down a player. Bego as well getting into the fight right there as he does knock one player, takes down another one, takes down Starboy, sends him back into the lobby. And right now, we still got about 9 teams. No team has actually gotten eliminated, but so many players are getting gone down. The boys from Citizens showing what they're capable of as they do take down a couple of players. Manny finally gets taken out as High, also takes down Danny Brown, and it does look like the boys from CLS have gotten taken out and sent back into the lobby. Taking a look at things right here, as we can see from Unseen Invaders, as Blaze is just holding his own down, trying as much as possible to wait for who is going to be that scapegoat to come within their region. But they've also now they also now need to begin to move into that zone as we are shifting towards that seventh zone, and this is where the dangerous moments begin to happen. Citizens currently still sitting down with a 4-man squad right there. The boys on YT looking to make the rotations into the zone. They've been engaged with so much action right there as they come up against Raza, but you can see Zaydin getting taken out right about now. The boys from Citizens coming in with a third party right there and do get a knock. Oh my goodness, so much fight going down. The boys from Unseen Invaders as well, who have been, quite, silent so far within this particular one, getting one kill, but also losing another player right there. They will be coming up against the boys from Citizens who were just in front of them. And it does look like Said Hat is just crawling, getting really close to that position where the boys from Citizens are at. Are we going to see them cause some huge damage onto what has been a really, really great performance coming in from the boys from Citizens in this particular lobby? Or are we going to see them just remain quiet and try to see who's going to be the scapegoats amongst the several other teams?
Honestly, we did see such a passive play going towards the end of Blaze and Sadat in the game number one. I see the same sort of output come in again, but he's been spotted at a far range right now. But there's also a smoke screen that's been placed. So that means for Citizens, they can easily come into this position and do something about this. Knocks have been positioned over here, and 11 wants some a piece of this right over here. So they're sitting on 9 eliminations, which has been a great start to the Sandhawk, and they could potentially end on a high over here to redeem themselves from what was a terrible performance in Arango, running here onto the rotations instead of focusing on what is behind them. But it does look like Sadat just being in the open right now. Blaze as well doing the same, and that team is going to get quite eliminated, and unfortunately won't get the back-to-back winner chicken dinners. But now you just see an absolute bloodbath coming out from Citizens, sitting on 13 eliminations, everyone getting a piece of the cake of what is remaining. It is a 4v2, 2 players remaining. Let's see exactly what can potentially go down.
All right, the Voice of Cities is putting in the work right there. They got themselves 13 kills. They're going in right there. We did know that they were capable of getting that winner chicken dinner in this game, and it's all down to how many kills they do get and how many they finish off with as they're looking for that last player. You can see right there 11 taking out Zico from the game. They're down to 14 kills. The last player is currently outside that zone. Putting up that heel shots. I do believe it's a TP player who is putting on that one as he finally does get taken out and sent out back into the lobby. And the boys from Citizens winning this game with evenly distributed kills between 11 Bego and Kumalala and 7 Goodyear putting in his own 2 kills right there. So great stuff coming in from the boys from Citizens, getting themselves 14 kills right there, and that winner with a chicken dinner. But we still got to say the boys from TP remaining consistent, getting themselves 1 kill, but still managing to grab themselves those extra 12 points right there. Lovely stuff.
Lovely stuff indeed. What a way to end. Lots of action available. But the way Citizens started, you could just easily see that they could have potentially walked away with the winner chicken dinner. So that was quite nice to see from Citizens.
Congratulations to Citizens. Now, guys, listen, I did tell you to remove that Costas curse off of them, and now look what happened. Do you see this? But, guys, please break down this game for me. How did it go? How do you feel about how, the lost plays that happened? Please break it down for me, Agfire.
I mean, I did. In my mind, it went exactly how I thought. I thought that the boys from Citizens were going to perform extremely well. I did have some hope for Tapu. I did have some hope for them, considering the way I saw them play in that you know, in that Enrango game earlier on. But I did see glimpses of, exceptional gameplay coming in from the boys from Citizens in that first game, and it was all down to a mistake. I remember I did say that
Yeah.
they do have the firepower and the potential to go on and perform quite well, and they've shown what they can do in this map within Sandhawk. I'm not sure about Miramar. I think we're probably going to see a new team, but I do believe that we're still going to see Citizens finish in that top five again as well. Remember, I've said it. They're They're that team that have been in Umzansi. They do have the experience, and obviously, even when you go down, for some seasons and your gameplay is not that good, because you have the experience of how to play all the way in that top, you will eventually come back, and that's exactly what they're doing today.
Well, I'm glad that they did come back. And Iro, speaking of Tafu, do you think that they panicked and they were, when they pushed near the water there and then one of the teammates jumped in? Do you think that they were, in a state of panic? And also, what do you think their comms might have been like?
Honestly, I wouldn't say panic. I'd rather just say the communication and decision making wasn't there. You had the one individual very far ahead of his two teammates, so he just ran in, got eliminated over there. But then the process to stay in the vicinity to try 2v3, 2v4 it really wasn't it. But the Atapu didn't look too great in terms of what the plan is, what the strategy is. So I think if they can work on that going into Murmur, then we can see a little bit out of them. But the strategy is just not in place for them just yet.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't really seen this team. We haven't really seen them before. So, Akfi, do you think maybe the pressure might have gotten to them, considering that we haven't really seen this team before, and this is our first time really, getting to know them and their play style, and maybe them even getting to know these other teams and their play styles?
I think that happens. You come into the lobby and you're very optimistic about your chances and your performances, and you know you sort of like get shocked. You become complacent, and I think that probably happened to them because they were very aggressive and very happy about the performances within that first game, that they came into the second game believing what, anything is possible. And maybe that's a wake-up call for them to go back and probably respect the lobby a bit more, be a bit more cautious about how they play and how they take on teams, and do their research a bit more, and try and perform better. Even if even if there probably isn't enough time to perform as well within the last game, maybe they can try and qualify next week, but now do a bit more research on teams and see how they can adjust and play better.
Definitely. And Ira, what do you think was, well, what was your favorite part of, this match?
The fact that we were able to see Citizens start off so great and end off on a high over there, and like Atfire said, we called it. The way they looked was really good, and they honestly kept that same momentum. I was actually a bit worried for them when I saw 11's badge only on the map. I was like, what happened? What could potentially have gone wrong? But they proved me wrong over there, and eventually all the badges came into the POV, and when they managed to just stay consistent, grabbing 14 eliminations. That is quite a lot over there and a wing. So they're honestly going to jump from what were they, 2 points to almost maybe even second on the official leaderboard for this week.
Definitely. I think they were aggressive the first time. It didn't really work out. But do you think that, their aggressive play, should be something that they continue to do, even
Mm.
though Miramar is, kind of a long
I
range
wouldn't
map at
say
fire?
that their first game was for them to be aggressive. It was just a miscommunication. Like Akfire mentioned, that mistake of them being split meant that they couldn't have their full potential of Citizens. The two players tried their level best to buy time, but it was time both that wasn't too much. So we saw the team that or when they all four members there work well together in an essence where they picked up 14 kills together. So really, I believe if they will keep that same momentum, Miramar is going to be an easy ride for them.
Well, let's hope so. And now let's check out the MVP. I have no predictions. I have no idea who it could possibly be. Oh, Citizens Esports. Oh, wow. I'm not really sure how to say his name. Bego? Is he trying to say Big Ghost? Anyways, congratulations with 700 damage, 4 eliminations, and survival time of 21 minutes and 43 seconds. Akfai, how do you feel about this decision?
I mean, yeah, I mean it's Bego. He's probably one of the most consistent players within Citizens. I'm not really sure what role Bego plays because I know, or I believe, I've never been told, and I'd like to know from Citizens fans. I believe that seven God year is the IGL. Just watching them play. I believe 11 is the Fragger, right? Those two, I'm sure, but I'm not really sure what Bego's role is. Maybe he supports, but also Fraga as well. Because because of how consistent he is, I want to call him a Fraga because he's always that very reliable player. Every single time I see him play, like if I was a player coming up against Beko, I'll be extremely careful, because he seems like one of those players who have that reliability in the way they play. He reminds me of players like Andrew, players from Slam 4KT, players from like Slime 4KT's Zeus as well, another very consistent player. He's just sort of in that category, in that league of players that you can always count on every single match to perform at a certain level.
Well, congratulations to him still, because even though we're not sure what role he plays, he definitely, brought out the fire for his team. Now let's take a look at the match ranking to see where the teams stand, honestly. I would like to know where Citizens are standing because they did have 2 points previously. So I want to know, I want to know if they. Ooh, there we go. There we go. 29 point total points. That should boost them up, to be honest. That should boost them up, I do believe. Now, Ira, could you please break down this match ranking for us?
So yeah, you Citizens in first with 14 nominations as well as a winner chicken dinner. Now sitting in with 29 points for game number two. Shark actually doing quite, I would say, quite consistent for game number two. The 6 eliminations could have done better in terms of getting more placement points over there, but 14 for them. And then Outlaws Predators in third with 13, down to high tier Prime in fourth with 12, and we go to Rising YT with 10. Then tied 6th and 7 is Unseen and Fahim. And then in eighth place, a Cyclone Shield Esports with 1 and 4, sitting on 5 in total. That will be your first page over there, looking quite different to game number one. and Citizens looking far much more comfortable. But if we go over to the second page now, we'll see exactly who didn't perform too well in the Sanhok environment in terms of handling that fast-paced action in Sanhok. Second page will come out anytime now. Just give it a second. Oh,
All
well,
right.
when
In
it
the
does come
meantime,
out, you have like Tupa who didn't get to perform too well over there. You had Citizens who managed to get 4 eliminations out from Juni, etc. From CLS, if I'm not mistaken. No, no, was it CLS? Not too sure. No, it wasn't CLS. CLS is a Cyclone, but it was Nightmare Esports. Yeah, Nightmare Esports. They got eliminated as well quite early. Then we have Outsiders, God Esports, just expired. The last team Lost Warriors. Now, Team Lost Warriors, they went towards the sort of almost end game, but didn't really do too well. O3 Brothers only sitting with 9 points, ninth place over there, 1 and 4 also sitting on 5. So I mean, these are teams that did well in a sense, a little bit in Irango, but not in Sanhok. O3 Brothers who had 11 eliminations, first 4 eliminations. Then you start to ask yourself why.
Well, I think the Nightmare Esports, it's a bit disappointing that they've come out with no points at all for this map, considering that I've seen them in previous weeks, and I do think that they're capable. So this performance is quite shocking to me. But let's take a look at the overall match ranking as well, just to see where everyone really is. Of course, Citizens Esports is number one, followed by the Outlaws Predators with only a difference of two. That is wild. These rankings are actually so close. Agfire, please break this down for us.
all right, so the boys from Citizens coming in with that winner chicken dinner and a lot of eliminations right there in the second one have been able to boost themselves all the way up into that first position, overtaking the boys from Outlaws Predators in that first spot. As you can see right there, sitting down, getting themselves 31 points. The Outlaw Predators remaining quite consistent. As you can see in that second game, they got themselves a lot of points right there with that heel strat, as you did see coming right there. All the way in that third position, you have the boys from Unseen Invaders. They have gotten themselves not a lot of kills, but they did grab that winner chicken dinner. That has still given them a whole lot of points. Same thing goes for the boys from O3 who had a fantastic, first game right there. They were not able to grab that winner chicken dinner, but the placement points that they had coming in second, as well as the massive eliminations that they had in that first game, has been able to boost them up all the way into that spot. So great gameplay coming in from all of these teams, as well as Rising Stars, Shaq 2022, High Prime, Cyclone Shields, all have been putting in the work within this particular game. It'll be curious to see who performs in this last game and finally takes home that, champion, or finally becomes our champion of the day. There's still so much amount of points, within these teams. Even a team sitting down all the way in that eighth position can grab a winner chicken dinner and a couple of kills and be boosted all the way into that first spot. So it's not over. We still got to see what happens in this final map in Miramar to finally crown our champion for the day.
I do believe Miramar is gonna be, it could be a saving grace for anyone who's from second to sixth, or rather maybe even, what, let me give them the benefit of the doubt. From second to eighth, I think anyone could actually take it, considering how close the total points are. But here on the second page, we do have Alpha Pack Esports, Fahim Musafir. We have the Nightmare Esports. We have Outsider Officials. We have, the team Lost Warriors, just expired, Tapu Clan, and lastly, God Esports. These total points aren't too far off either, because between Alpha and Fahim, they're tied pretty much. And then the Nightmare Esports, Outsiders Officials, the only difference between them is 1 point. So Iro, tell me your thoughts on the second page over here.
So yeah, like you can see in the Tapu clan being 15th right over there, it's not really a show class of Inkosi, because when you manage to qualify for the three games over here, you need to come in with the same level of consistency. But also outsiders, only 6 points there for outsiders. Nightmare Esports. These are some of the teams that I've seen do well in a certain week and just not really coming to the party this time around, where you manage to qualify for a single week. You need to take full advantage, especially when teams like Beautiful Kills, ATL Magicians, etc., is not part of the roster for the evening. Then you need to take full advantage if you have it previously. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Miramar has to bring to the table. We saw the citizens having only 2 points from Erangel to Sandhawk, but ending up with 31 and being first on that leaderboard. So anything's physically possible going into Miramar, but at the same time, it's just like, do you just pack up and take what you've had? I don't know. We're gonna have to wait and see what Super, the likes of Outsiders and Nightmare have. But it's not everyone that has the opportunity to do well, because, like you say, you still also have second to six, maybe even eight, who have the opportunity of being first overall for today to win that prize pool. So everyone is really gonna try give their level best, and then that makes the competition very hard for the rest.
Definitely. And I see a couple of teams are sort of relying on placement points because maybe, they were unlucky and they couldn't particularly get any eliminations in that last map, so they were relying on placement points because I saw one of the teams had one elimination but like 12 placement points, and that got them to, stay in the top 8 for this week. So, I would just like to see a little bit more balance between the eliminations and the placement points. I don't want any teams to become too reliant on either one of them, because that could be ultimately their downfall. And I don't think anyone was particularly paying too much attention to Shock 2022, but I was, because I saw how they were moving. They were moving as a unit. Did you notice
Mm.
that? They were just moving so like I have your back, and I really like that sort of, play style, rather than, everyone who's trying to hold different angles instead of like it is a smart play to hold different angles, but to also just move as a unit, it's a good thing to see. And it got them this far, so yeah, I would like to see them do a bit more of that. But now the game has begun, so we will go to the third and final game of the night, and I will leave you with Agfire and Iro. So good luck and have fun to all of the teams.
All right, so we're back for our final action of the night. It has been a crazy day coming from a lot of these teams. Aero, who do you think is going to take this one?
Honestly, I think and I think we can both agree on this. The fact that Citizens played as a full team, we got to see their full potential, and they also got to then understand what they're playing up against. Because grabbing 14 eliminations means that they were dominating every encounter they had in Sandhawk. So for them going into Miramar, they know what their competition is. They know how to handle it. If they can work together, then we could even see a back-to-back winner chicken dinner. But again, this is all about snipers. This is all about long range. So it becomes a bit tricky in the Miramar, especially mountain areas, etc. In terms of zone RNG, where the zone pulls. But where do you think zone will pull right now?
All right, all right, all right, all right. Taking a look at the zone, like you
Ooh.
said, Aero, a lot of teams, some teams are landing really close to each other. Some teams are trying to rotate far away. You can see that zone and that map right there moving away from, that flight path right there. We do see the boys from TP not too far away from the team. I do believe that we're going to be seeing some fight going down there. We do see the boys from O3 as well, not too far away from God Esports and Citizens Esports as well, close to some teams right there. So we're going to see how this one actually does play out. It is going to be a very rough time, but as we do know, Mirama always is. It starts off really, tough at first, and then it begins to build off as this map, that we all got to wait for the action for. So we might see some action coming out quite early on, and we might see things just fizzle out later on. But right here, we do have the boys from BBC already getting into some action. Sorry, from Outlaws already getting into some action right there. Coming up against Order right there. This is BBC Order right there, but I'm not sure what the name of that team right there is, as they do take
Mm.
down one player from TP and Roy, who has gotten taken down now, forcing the rest of his teammates to just retreat away from that position and try to loot up as much as they can. I'm not sure if they have enough loot to take on that particular fight. They're not feeling too confident about that one, and just taking the decision to just rotate and move away from that spot right there.
Honestly, I think it is a good decision. I always like it when players play smart. I don't play like Act-Fire and go all a cycle Scarface mode. We rather play
Say hello
smart.
to my little friend.
Playing smart here in the games, they now get to loot up and gather some utilities, etc. And it's all three of them alive out of the four, so there's still some hope that they can grab some placement points and maybe one or two eliminations along the way. On the other side, Shark 22, they're going up against Blaze and Warguard and Raza, where Blaze and them managed to win game number one, but game number two didn't go in their favor. They found themselves in a sticky one where Raza went out in the open, wasn't really playing too consistent. Warguard was already eliminated, and Blaze had to face off against Citizens and just didn't go in their favor at all. But Shock 22, they have a widespread of players over here, Starboy all the way to the very end of their Cold 77 as well, quite separated. Then you have Shock 77, who's just in the middle of the entire Blaze, Wargod, Shadow, and as well as Raza. So I feel Shock 22 might not have the best of strategy going into Miramar just yet, but if he does play it quietly, he can be in this good position of not getting eliminated.
Yeah, we got to wait and see how it actually does pan out between these two teams. Right here, you do see Shark, who giving us, some lovely action coming down. As you did hear from our host, they're one of those teams who have actually been playing well together. But right there, you do see Starboy far away from his teammate right there, Shark 77. And we can see how this one actually does play out for these two teams. Miramar is always one of those maps that's very hard to push into the buildings, even if you do get that knock. But Shark is currently all alone, and that may be the deciding factor and difference for the team if they do get a knock onto him. We'll see how that one actually does go out. It does look like Seed Hat is in a vehicle looking to make a push, but stops in the building just next right there. It does look like Shark has probably been triggered as he heard some movement going down right there, as the team's already beginning to get closer to his spot. Oh, Miramar is always one of those maps that's very, very hard to call. But you can now see Wargod pulling up onto that
Ooh,
building. Shark does come down, and the teams are looking to make their move. They're not holding back. They want to make the move onto Shark 2022, and you can already see them looking as much as possible for Shark 77, and it is an incredible gameplay coming down from them right there as they are on the hunt. But Shark 77 is having none of it as he continues to make those rotations, and you can see this boy
nice.
getting a knock right there. And now the player that was actually being hunted can now be the one doing the hunting and looking to get those eliminations. The boys from Shark 2022 will now be turning the sights onto becoming the ones who are hunting down the team that was doing the hunting before. As you can see, Starboy and Shark making their move, and it'll be curious to see how this one actually does pan out as they do take down Raza right there.
That was really good play. I like how they managed to have a lot of cover onto Shark 77 right over here as he was trying to disengage from a heavy enemy territory. So that was really good from Shark 22. Looking forward to seeing how they can continue being such a unit and a tank to go even further into Miramar right here. And it does look like now they are the hunters indeed over here at Fire, trying to get into the pressured areas for the opposing teams right over there. So it's going to be quite interesting to see how that would be looking like. Honestly, I'd have to say it has to be the decision on when to get into combat. Like we saw last match, Roach, had a 1v2 opportunity, and he allowed himself to get into that position where I don't know if the communication to say, "Hey guys, I need backup," was present. I'm pretty sure it was, but the team isn't just looking uh very synchronized in their decision making. So the fact that Roach had to put himself into that position, then try sacrifice himself to try get the 1v2 clutch, you just saw him getting eliminated. And then they pick up only one placement point with four eliminations, and it comes to show you that they are doing quite well, but they can do better.
All right, coming in right here, we do see the boys from God getting into a fight with with Tapu, and I do believe they've gotten a knock right there onto one of the players. I do believe it's King. I'm not too sure exactly. I've not seen that really quite clearly. But it does look like coming in from the other side. Actually, speaking of the Devil King, coming in from the other corner, getting a knock onto Kratos right there, providing the return fire right there. As two of the players are currently taking down, they buying them time to get the revive. And as you can see, the boys from God in a very, very sticky situation as Kratos has gotten taken down. I do see only Odin left in their team. I'm not sure how many players are currently left, but King with that massive, beautiful rotation, able to get a knock right there. So we'll be taking a look at the way things are going to progress. It does look like the boys from Tapo have gotten themselves 3 kills, and I do believe they've taken out 3 players from the boys from God. As you can see, Akesh getting some knocks right there. Odin, I do believe, is the last one for the team God. We're trying as much as possible to keep the hold for the team alive right there. They've not had quite a good day in this lobby. You can see Bulu taking on shots into that position where Odin is currently situated at, and Odin does go down in that building right there, trying as much as possible to evade the shots to see if he can, deceive. And you can see King now beginning to make that move, now beginning to make that push onto that position right
Oh,
there. Odin is currently not sure of
oh,
his position. King hasn't seen him yet, but probably has heard his footsteps. As you can see, King is making that push. He goes into the building,
oh.
but King goes down. Odin will now be looking to find that finish onto King, and he does get it just in time as he reduces the boys from Tapu all the way down to just 2 players.
Man, old King unfortunately just didn't have the wide range of them. I mean, it was in his POV, it was clear, open right over there, but unfortunately didn't get to pick it up. But it does look like also the rescue from the team managed to get King just up on his feet. Like a second later, and he would have found himself in a bit of trouble. And we have the question of Cyclone not doing enough, but are capable of doing it, getting Roach knocked in the kill feed over there. So not looking too great from them. Again, Miramar, and they are on that second page, where they could be far much more in a better position. So very interested to see what that means for them with the remaining players, or if they do get knocked out. Now, outsiders, what has been the main problem for you for outsiders in terms of they can do far much more better than what we've seen this evening?
I'm not really sure what it is from outsiders. I'm gonna be honest with you. They're one of those teams when it comes to the performances. In previous seasons, I would compare them to a team like Citizens. When it comes to their firepower, but I'm not really sure. Something's not clicking. Maybe it's synergy. Maybe they're just going through a bad phase. It happens sometimes in some teams. But let's turn our sights onto the teams from Massive coming up against Tapu right there. As we do see King, it throws in that nade frag, and it does take them out of the game right there. The boys from Tapu have now been eliminated. They've got to go back, rethink their strategy, and get that winner chicken dinner and qualify until the Inkosi next week. But speaking of the Devils, the boys from Outsiders who we've spoken about, maybe this map is going to be the opportunity to revitalize the gameplay right there, as Pinswa and his boys have got to find a way to climb up on that leaderboard, get those extra points, and manage to be in that first page. But taking a look at things right here, we're down to our third zone. We'll be moving all the way into our fourth zone, and and this is where things now begin to get absolutely crazy in a map like Miramar, as we will be seeing several different teams punishing teams for rotating into the zone quite late, and that's exactly what is going to happen. The boys from Citizens trying as much as possible to edge it for now as they're getting restocked, and we'll be moving into that edge within that zone. You can already see Rasta already holding a position already, getting himself a good spot and cutting our sights onto the team that was absolutely guns blazing last match. The boys from Citizens, the one and only, coming up against YT, another team that has been outstanding, in the zone. Right here, I'll be
Mm.
curious to see how they actually do play this one and if they're going to make that.
Really good position that they found themselves in, Citizens. And on the other side of things, you got Just Expired, who have lost two of their players, but they're putting in a lot of pressure onto outsiders right now in the long range situation. But it doesn't look like it's going to be an impactful moment just yet for Just Expired. Maybe trying to redirect the pressure that was put onto them by just dealing a bit of fire onto the opposition players so that they can make that clean rotation. Kumalala and Gaudier 11 Citizens, they've had themselves found in a great position. There's Just Expired picking up one kill on JDE and trying to get that confirmation. Any kill, any point will work for them in a sense, but also hasn't been the best of nights here for Just Expired. But if they can just go out with a bang, it will always be great for him and the team. Great
Ooh,
confirmation
just
right
seeing
now.
the way things are going and playing out right there for the boys who just expired. They're down to just two players right now. They've got to rotate into that zone. We do have a couple of teams in front of them. They've got the boys from Outsiders, but on the side, onto the boys from Whitey right there, who are currently surrounded by Citizens. It's a very, very, very dangerous one. The team Master Fair, who have been getting themselves into a lot of action. They came into this game with a three-man squad. They're down to just two. Are also surrounded by several different teams. They've got the boys from Outsiders. They've got outside of Citizens around them. Okay, they've also got outsiders as well. Really close to them.
Yeah.
Turn the sides onto CLS as well. And they've got the boys from Just. There's so many different teams around this region. They've got to get into that zone. Outsiders also put in the boys against the boys from YT and gatekeeping them. So it's a very dangerous time for a lot of these teams. We'll soon be moving into that fifth zone. We'll soon start
Mm.
closing in. They've all got to begin their rotation, and we're curious to see how this one actually does play out. The boys from Outsiders not having quite a good time as they find themselves in another sticky situation. They get taken down right there as the boys from CLS do get a knock onto them. But Citizens, oh my Citizens, putting in the work right here. They get another knock. They take down another player. They get keeping the boys from YT and the boys from O2 as well on that kill field. As you can see, taking down another player, O2 taking on, just going to everyone around, going absolutely guns blazing and taking out the boys from outside. O2 in an absolute frenzy right there. But turning our sights onto the boys from Justice Fire that they are now beginning to send shots onto the boys from high right there. So forgetting that they're just a two-man squad right now. He's going all
Mm.
Rambo against the boys from high and sending on shots onto their region. But my goodness, it is fire at every single corner. Every single team is going absolutely crazy. They're forgetting that Abmirama and just want to battle. Everyone wants an inch of that kill.
So great from CLS to pick up their elimination of their BBC order. Left alone in Fahim right now, trying to get a shot onto Manny, but Manny easily could win this one-on-one situation. We're seeing him in the past. His movement's great. He does get that final kill, and now the team is sitting on 5 eliminations. So CLS honestly coming to the party for Miramar and doing quite a bit. It's a pity that they've already lost one of their players, but they are performing on the aspect that they're already sitting on 5 eliminations. I think it's the highest at this stage in 18 minutes of the match. But we have just expired, like you say, who have forgotten that they are a two-man squad, and they were showing a little bit of aggression, a little bit of signs that they need to calm down a little bit. And I think right now that is exactly what we are seeing coming up from scratch as well as so. But it's just the holding position for them in terms of when to make the next rotation, as the zone will be shrinking in moments time. It's got a peak over here, but it isn't going to find anything just yet.
Oh, definitely so. From Just Expired, trying as much as possible to find a way to take out the boys from high and then move into that zone. Pretty much in a very desperate situation, as you can see that zone beginning to close in. Once it does, they are sort of in a sticky situation, being kept by the boys from high, but they don't have to move just yet. They still have some minutes to think about it, maybe 3 to 4 minutes. It depends on, yeah, okay. They have just 1 minute actually to think about this, so they've got to make the move quite quickly. But looking at this one right now, we're down to the fifth zone. We got about 11 teams. Every single corner, there are teams to battle with and fight. The boys so from Just Expired, I've got to think of a way to move into that zone. You can see Scratch already beginning to look for another region to rotate through. He picks up the vehicle, and I do believe he is rotating on his own. He's not picking his teammates. He's making those rotations all on his
Oh,
own. Probably the wise decision to make, as he does get taken out by the boys from CLS. Citizens still putting in the work right there. Still fighting the boys YT, as they do get another knock right there with the car 98. And the boys from high haven't gotten themselves any kill in this match. But they have managed to survive with a full squad. Is it too early to begin to make predictions here?
yeah, I would say it's a bit too early over here. You do have a couple of four-man squads still alive, but it's a bit too early in terms of what we have available. I mean, you look at CLS who have done quite phenomenal with the three-man squads elimination, but then you also have the likes of Citizens who have been gaining their activeness yet again. So as you can see, Nikhil Feed picking up more eliminations over there. And CLS, oh, just going down, just as I mentioned their name. Habiti, they're just picking up everyone, left, right, and center. They're not giving anyone some breathing space right now. But high tier Prime looking to find themselves going up against the Nightmare Esports. And what a throw onto the individuals. Junie managing to pick up Sensi and Siko, and the call to push right now comes in right there. As you can see, Sexton able to push in and trying to get his confirmations, and he's picked up the one. Sensi just looking about 5 HP, just 1 or 2 shots, dead and dusted. And you see, and that's why I said it was a bit too early, because high tier esports Prime had a full squad available, but all of a sudden are now sitting with only 1 or 2 players left. Throwing some
All right, the
grenades in.
boys.
You got you got MCR as well, looking good right here in this position. They've come in and on the higher top of High Dramax and High Legion, but you also have the whole likes of Citizens being alive. Here's High Legion picking up just expired some of the eliminations over there. It's now left with JDE Cold onto the far right side of them as well, so we can see exactly what happens. But Bradley, MCR, and the Nightmare Esports and the likes have been doing quite well in this position. 4 eliminations in the game right now. They're looking to pick up more, but right now just hopeful, spraying and praying to pick up those kills, and nothing really just confirmed right now. He does look to have a scope onto Raheem from AP, but that is just a bit far out. He is a solo rap player as well, by the looks of it, and at least not griefing him in the sense of damaging the vehicle. But Juni and the likes now going to be rotating into the finer small circle. We've got 12 players remaining, 6 teams, couple solos, couple duos, and then as well as about two teams with 4 full players, if I'm not mistaken. So we're going to see exactly what that would be looking like. Juni going down, so Nightmare
Yeah.
Esports losing one of their players.
Yeah, all right. So we're down to 16 left. And as you can see, the boys from Citizens are still holding a good position within that zone. The boys from Nightmare Esports are still looking quite good. They've got themselves 4 kills. They're still with a full squad. Okay, I called it too soon. They're down to 3 players. They've got themselves 4 kills. And I'm now moving into that zone. But you do see right there the boys from Citizens putting in the work right there, as they do take down another player right there for the boys from Nightmare Esports, as it is so much violence going down at every single corner. And right there, just as we called the boys from high High tier prime taking out, I do believe, the last player right there from Nightmare. And right there, moving into that final circle, you got the boys from Citizens holding a good position. You can see Drymax trying as much as possible to make those rotations into that zone. And I do believe he is trying to move closer and edge closer and closer and closer into that zone. Obviously, thinking that that car was in that circle, he tried as much as possible to smoke it, as he does envisage that there are teams to his left and to his right. He's got the boys from Citizens. He's got Code right there on JRE, and he's got to find a way to move into that circle. The boys from Citizens currently sitting now with 8 kills to the name. They have been looking quite good, and I do believe, Aero, with these points that they have, they may just be sitting down on the top of the leaderboard, no matter how this game goes today, goes from now on.
Definitely, definitely. I mean, 9 kills right now, already third on the leaderboard, and they had about what 3 4 point difference to second. Being the most active, most comfortable. You're looking at it being a 3v2v1. So, like I said, we called it back to back winner chicken dinners are inbound for Citizens. Glad to find that they were able to find their feet in this position. Kumalala just trying to destroy the vehicle, if I'm not mistaken, or just try to get some good shots over there. But right here, for the objective for the team is maybe to just wipe out everyone and get 12 eliminations onto their name. But that this is what you call taking full advantage of not having the likes of greedy for kills in your game, where they are able to pick up on high kill eliminations as well as great placement points.
And this is exactly what the boys from Citizens need. If they're going to qualify all the way in from the Unconsi, they need to be performing with that consistency. They need to be showing what they're capable of in every single week and be grabbing those opportunities, especially when guys like Ready for Kills are currently not in that leaderboard. Oh, sorry, currently not in the game right here and is onto that overall leaderboard, which we may be seeing later on. Turning the sights right now onto Akil and his boys, bots right there, 7-7. You can now see them looking to edge this game through. They currently do have the zone. So Bot and Akil have got to make their way in. As you can see right there, Kumalala getting another knock right there. And right now can turn the sights onto Bot. This game is pretty much sealed through, and the boys from Citizens are edging closer and closer to another winner chicken dinner as they cannot turn the sights onto Bot, and it's almost over. There's one more shot, and they may be sending Bot out of this game. But trying as much as possible to reach closer and closer into the zone. Is he hoping to get that squad wipe? Are we going to see that situation where he does produce that magical moment that we know and have seen in previous seasons? But right there,
Ooh.
not going to happen, as we do see the boys from Citizens grabbing another winner chicken dinner again. But speaking of looking at how many kills that they had overall, they had themselves 12 kills. But look at Beko potentially being another MVP again, but this time around, not with 4, but with double 8 kills to his name.
Well done to Citizens. Winning back to back isn't so easy, especially in the 3 games that we have in the evening. So, really good shout out to them, keeping the level of consistency over there. But as well as JDE, Starboy, Cold, Guts Boy, Shock 2022, picking up 8 kills as well overall for themselves in third.
Congratulations to Citizens Esports once again taking the third map. That was a really good performance from them. Iro, let me know your thoughts on this entire match. Started off a bit slow, but yeah, like it ended off, how it was supposed to, how the universe wanted it to. So, how do you think it went
Exactly.
in your eyes?
That went quite well. Citizens did carry themselves to the very end with some great number of eliminations, but Cyclone as well. We got to see a little bit of them, I have to say, picking up what 5 6 kills in their play, but unfortunately weren't able to go to the very end over there. And then just Citizens sticking to one another was quite amazing. So I'm happy to see them in that position. But Shark 22 as well, their plays and strategies were really off the charts in terms of covering for one another and then also picking up some eliminations in that off spawn situation we did have.
So yeah, I'm not gonna say, that my intuition is amazing, but it is. Because I did, I was like, shock, that shock 2022, they're one to watch. And then look what happened. They ended up third in this map. I also just love how, Tony, when you were basically saying, they're disengaging. I don't even remember if it was you or if it was Iro who was saying when they were disengaging from the fight. I like how they know when and where to take the fight, and how they have that self-control to pull back. So how do you feel of their performance, overall, throughout these three maps, Agfire?
I feel like they've shown that they're capable of fighting. They've shown that they have the powers to, battle any single team, and they work as a unit. Unit, like you said, after the Sandhawk game. So maybe coming into next week, they can be a bit more comfortable about what they're capable of and just go on. Unfortunately, there were so many different teams, like the boys from Citizens, like the boys from O3, who just seem to have wanted it a bit more.
Yeah, they did want it a bit more. And speaking of, wanting it a bit more, do you think that these teams are hungry enough to make it to the top eight? Speaking of the O3 brothers, Citizens, Shark, do you think that these teams are capable now that we've seen them a little bit, especially those that we've seen, over and over again, like Citizens, Ira?
Honestly, they will need to pull up their socks a lot more higher if they want to get into that the top eight page over there. I'm not sure when it comes down to the consistency overall, but when we're looking at it just based off on last week and this week, they definitely need to do a lot more than just what we've seen in today's games. So, really, I'm hoping that next week they are able to grasp into the top three games yet again, and then work their way up on the overall standings of the leaderboard for the weeks. But someone like Citizens, they show the level of competition that we can see.
Yes, they do. They learn from their mistakes, and then they bring the fire, and they do what they have to do. Now let's take a look at the MVP. I'm pretty sure it's kind of obvious this time around with those 8 eliminations, unless we're wrong. No, we're not. It's Citizens Esports Bego. Wow. Congratulations on your 600 damage, 8 eliminations, and survival time of 24 minutes and 36 seconds. Agfire, how do you feel on this decision right here?
I mean, we did speak about him after the last game, about him being one of these players who is absolutely consistent. I think I'm gonna say that he is probably the fragger for Citizens right now. I mean, considering how consistent he is, maybe Citizens has two fraggers, 11 and Bego, but 11 seems to be that player who is always, turning up. I think every other week, 11 provides you that absolutely crazy performance where he gets like maybe 11 kills or 13 kills, right? And Bego probably doesn't do those numbers, but Bego is always giving you that consistency like every single match: 3 kills, 2 kills, 4 kills, 5 kills, and even now providing 8 kills right there.
Well, congratulations to the top fragger of the team. Now we have the match ranking. Of course, Citizens Esports running away with the winner winner chicken dinner with place points of 15, 12 eliminations, and a total points of 27. Shock 2022 in second place with 10 points, 8 eliminations, and a total points of 18. And then Team Lost Warriors in third place with 12 place points, 1 elimination, and a total points of 13. Now, like I was saying before, Citizens Esports has found the balance between getting place points and getting the eliminations. They had their plan and they executed it, to the best of their abilities, which is what got them here. Whereas, for example, the team Lost Warriors, only 1 elimination but place points of 12. They played, they didn't balance it out, but they did what they could. But yeah, it's good that they still ended up in third place. Iro, could you please break down this match ranking and also just share some of your opinions on these teams and their placements?
So higher tier prime, they looked very well going into endgame, and it was the question of who do I think will be winning the winner chicken dinner. They had four of their players alive at that stage, and then eventually just three of them died, and you could see how that impacted their total points that they could have gotten if they played it far much more better game towards the end. Only now in fourth place with 10 points, could have been far much more better number over there. Alpha Pack as well, AP, we did see them not there, but not being too active, only 8, tied with Nightmare Esports. Nightmare Esports not delivering the same level of Nightmare we get to see from them consistently week in and week out. Cyclone Shield Esports, one placement point, 6 kills, so they had 6 kills very early on, and it was the highest number at that stage when we saw 6 kills. But getting taken out very early means those 6 kills mean absolutely nothing because they sit at the bottom of the leaderboard due to their placement points. But outsiders here on the second page at 12, not looking too good over there. They could have been far much more better placed overall in the entire overall standings in the 3 games that we had today. Just expired. We did get to see a little bit of them, but Topple Clan picked up 4 elevations. However, dying very early meant that that's all they picked up for the game number 3. Then Unseen Invaders dying off spawn with 0 eliminations and 0 points. So let's see the overall ranking though, because that could be where things really matter for the evening in terms of prize pool, as well as just pushing over there. So that is really good.
Citizens Esports coming out on top with 58 total points, 28 eliminations, and 30 place points. Wow, they really just, woke up from that first match and decided, hey guys, we're here and we're taking it this week. And really just sort of like disregarded everybody because they were just like, everyone's gonna die and it is what it is. Agfire, could you please break down this overall ranking and your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I said it. I called it from the first game. There was something about their body language that just made me know. Especially with seeing their performances in all the tournaments. Like Citizens is here to stay. Citizens, that we knew from back in the days when they used to be called Wild Breed is back, and I do believe that strongly that they are as powerful as that team. That was one of the best teams in Africa at the time, and they might be they well no they will be able to fight their way back all the way into the Umzansi, which they got relegated from. And obviously they are showing those performances right there. Seeing Shark 2020, I haven't seen much of them throughout the entire season. Maybe because I haven't watched every single week within the Inkosi. But they shown that they can grab those points up on that leaderboard even without getting the winner with the chicken dinner right there. And you can see them getting a decent amount of eliminations right there with 18 eliminations and grabbing those 38 points. All three brothers, I did expect to see more from them, but they're still a new team. They're still performing quite well. They almost grabbed that winner with a chicken dinner in the first game. That probably would have put them in, that still would have put them in that third place. So very decent one coming from them overall, but I expect to see more from them coming up in previous next weeks. The TP brothers are always remaining consistent, fighting for those points and doing quite well for themselves. Going all the way into that second page, there are several different teams that I thought were going to be doing a lot more. I did see some things coming in from outsiders, but was not enough to boost them up onto that first page. Musa Fair, had moments within their game. They didn't get the
Yeah.
placement points. They weren't moving up onto that first page. They weren't getting into the final circles, but they got 12 eliminations. Of all the teams who were sitting down in the bottom side, they are the team that was taking on the most fights.
They
Hmm.
definitely were. And do you think that their strategy needs to somewhat change because it seems like they're just relying on their gun power, their gun skill, which we can see, they do have some of that. But a placement point of one is really it's just not it, hey? It's really not it. So what do you think they could change in their strategy, Ira?
So we already seen them being successful in terms of getting eliminations, but then planning the attacks needs to be adjusted over there because they're just running into every single player and then thinking that you know what, we've gotten the 4 guys, let's go to 8, let's go to 12, let's go to 16. But then what they don't realize is that they will run into another competitive team that is of high caliber and then becomes an issue. So they need to then be happy with the number of eliminations you have per stage. Off spawn, you grab your 4 kills, fantastic. You don't need to do anything else going into mid game and end game. Maybe if you are encountered with some trouble, that is when you can try take out opponents over there. Then you go into end game. You know here you can't avoid any fights whatsoever because the zone is small. You need to start picking up some eliminations. That's what I think most strategies need to go and play with a lot of these teams. Is that if they already pick up a full wipe off the off spawn, keep that to your end game, and then you can continue picking up because an 8 kill win is really good. 8 kills third, really good. 8 kills fourth, really good. You're getting placement points, but you're also getting eliminations. But now, dying very early and a lot of kills, it's not the way to go.
Well, hopefully they do very well next week. If they do come back, I'm wishing the best for all the teams that haven't made it. However, this is the end of the show, and thank you, Agfire, thank you, Iro, thank you to the viewers as well. And we will be signing out here today. We'll check you next week on season 5 of the Inkosi Super Cup.